Hello everybody, I think we're live, hopefully we're live. Yes, welcome back to our next episode of Let's Go Live. Haven't done one in a little while because as you know, I moved over a little while back and I'm still not as settled yet. A lot of things are still, up and down for me. As I said, they still are, so still not fully settled, but I really wanted to do an episode, so I decided to say, hey, let me make an episode. And for this episode, we're talking about work life and how it can impact your health. And as I said, we're going to be speaking with Miss Dionne West, a work life management coach, and we're going to be talking about how work life can impact your health. So I'm going to just jump right into inviting her on here. Hold on, let me see how we can. I haven't done this in a while. How does this go again? we're yeah. No, that's not it. There it is. It's down there. My goodness. Dionne West. I feel so old. Oh my goodness. Alright. Thanks everyone for joining. Hey,
Hi,
Dionne.
Mister. Hiya.
I'm here.
Someone just rang me, and I hope they don't call me back because it cut the sound, and I had to join and rejoin.
Oh,
So
really?
hopefully they don't call me back.
Yeah, I really hate when that happens. It's like you're doing something and then just because someone calls, it knocks you off. Like
Yeah, it does.
I think it does it in Zoom as well. So like if you're in a Zoom meeting, it just knocks you out of the meeting. You have to do it over again in the waiting room and all of that. So yeah, but
Yeah.
hopefully because
And sometimes they're tenacious. They keep calling.
right. So how are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good as well. How does it feel to finally have someone in your time zone?
I'm telling you, it is so good
Yeah.
because it never happens.
Right? Yeah, well, I can imagine. But I mean, we're still in that time. That's good for, both here and across the pond back home in Jamaica. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining. And as I said, yes, we're going to be talking about work life and how it can impact your health. So, it's about 6:02 now, and I see like a good amount of people in. So, just kind of jump right in and start with the conversation. So, I know I did send her a list of questions, guys. But I did forget to include this one list. There's one question I should say. So just first of all, just tell us what the term work life entails, or like what it refers to.
Okay, so I am a work-life management coach, and in terms of what I do, that means that I help middle management professionals to be better able to to work through the challenges that the day-to-day work throws up. So helping you to get the strategies and tools that you need to manage your day-to-day work life. And I also help you to get prepared for your next promotion. So things like working out a timeline and action plan for your next promotion. Work life, in terms of what I do, refers to your life in work, but I think in this conversation, we're going to make it a little broader and talking about the work life, sort of home life and the work life dynamic. And what I do, I help through coaching and digital resources. So if you are speaking specifically to what they call work-life balance, I thought I would look it up. That was helpful to see what the sort of general description of it is, because I don't think I hold to what most people perceive it as.
Yeah, lots of people throw the term out there like, oh, you need to be attaining work-life balance, but then again, you do have different interpretations of what it is. So, yes, here I just wanted to kind of get some sort of standardization of what it is, or what I guess it probably even should be. And yeah, so what is it that you found on it?
So I found two definitions. The first one is the state of equilibrium, where a person equally prioritizes the demands of one's career and the demands of one's personal life. And I don't think it's possible to equally prioritize. I think that in itself is an oxymoron, because if you prioritize something, it means that you made one thing more important than the other, right?
Yeah.
The other one I found was the division of one's time and focus between working and family or leisure activities. And for me, I think that one works better. So division does not necessarily allude to equal allocation of time. So you can determine how it is that you're going to allocate that time and what works better for you. So for me, it's more trying to achieve work-life harmony as opposed to work-life balance.
Okay, all right. So then you're saying in a nutshell that work-life balance is not really attainable.
Sustainable.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
And what we're trying to
Exactly.
strive for is work-life harmony.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's my view.
that's your view. Okay, I mean, it definitely does make sense because it does for what people think work life is or what work life balance, what they have out there as the definition. It's kind of weird to think about attaining that, like, you know, getting to a perfect place where you're attaining that, because then it just even adds more stress onto you because
Yeah.
to be like, okay, I'm at work, yes, but I need to be doing this when I'm at home. You know, I need to be
Yeah.
balancing. I need to be priority. You know, things like that. So
Mm.
definitely, I do agree with you when you know you say
Yeah.
want to be looking more towards work-life harmony rather than work-life balance. Definitely get
Because I think you already spend most of your day. You have a 9 to 5, and I think this conversation is going to be more about the 9 to 5 kind of setting, because that's where my experience lies. Um, you spend most of your day at work, so there's no way that it could balance anyway. You
that.
know, so even just by virtue of how everything is organized, it's just not possible in my view.
Yeah. Okay, I definitely understand that. I definitely do agree to that as well. Now when it comes on to work life, we do know that work in general just comes with a lot of stress. No matter even if you're working a passion job is here, you know, the job you
Yeah.
always wanted and you get it, there is some level of stress. And
Yeah.
I think according to the WHO, stress is one of the most critical determinants of lifetime health and increases the risk of chronic NCDs or non-communicable diseases.
Mm-hmm.
Stress-related chronic NCDs continue to actually plague primary care practitioners, your GP, your doctors, you know, people that come in most of the time, and your pharmacists as well. A lot of people that come in, it's NCDs that are stress related, your pressure, your high blood sugar, different
Mm-hmm.
diseases like that that are affected
Mm-hmm.
by stress. Um,
Yeah.
when it comes to stress now, what are some ways that your job or your work can actually increase stress?
Oh Lord. All right. I think before I answer that, I just want to point out that we're not gonna doom and gloom the whole thing, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
work does provide structure for many people. It does provide a sense of fulfillment and a means by which people can impact other people. And you know, if you enjoy your work, it's a way for you to give back often. And for many people, it's their main source of social contact or social interaction. So there are positives to the work experience. But to come back to your question, stress at work, heavy workloads, for one. Long working hours is another one that's very stressful. A high-paced working environment is another one for sure. If you are in an environment where there isn't a lot of harmony in the workplace, so if you have interpersonal relationships with colleagues that are not healthy or that are unhealthily challenging, all of these things can add to your stress. And it's often a little hard sometimes to come home and switch off that work switch, because I don't think we are binary, you know, so we tend to bring it across in both directions.
yeah,
So those things are some of the things that definitely can cause you stress. And also, if you have relationships with your manager in particular that you know, that relationship is not healthy, that can definitely cause you stress in the work environment. And that doesn't even come on to the environmental factors, whether the temperature is not right, whether your workstation is not ergonomically efficient. All of these things can add to your stress in work.
yeah. Definitely do agree with that. And I'm glad that you mentioned the point of coming home because what happens with a lot of these jobs, and especially since the dawn of the pandemic and the dawn of working from home, is you
Mm-hmm.
have that blurring of the personal time and you know home time, where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, even if I went into the office today, I'm gonna bring my work home and I'm gonna probably just work on some stuff. Let's work on some little bit of stuff. You know, you say
Yeah.
a little, but then after a while, you realize you're getting deeper and deeper into it
Yes.
until it's
Yes.
like
Yes.
midnight, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna have to go sleep now.
Yeah.
And wake up
Yeah.
6 o'clock again to go to work again. So you know,
Yeah.
there's this blurring of the line of when is it my relaxation time, and
Mm-hmm.
it might not be a case of when we feel it. Like we don't have to feel it to be like, oh, I definitely feel like I'm tired. For your body
Mm-hmm.
to be saying, I need rest. You know,
Yes.
they definitely
Yeah.
need to. It's more of a proactive approach rather than a reactive approach, where you have to
Mhm.
know that your body needs rest and you know that
Yes.
this is my work time, this is when it ends. Sure, sometimes you're gonna have to go a little bit over time, sure, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not a habit that you should pick up to be
Yes.
bringing work
Yeah.
with all the time.
Agreed. Agreed.
Then your brain is just constantly 24/7 thinking about whatever project you're working on right now,
Mm-hmm.
and basically so on. So I'm glad you mentioned that point as well. And I think a big issue with work life stress and your health is sleep deprivation. Like sleep deprivation
Yes,
is
for
definitely a
sure.
big thing. I think you said at one point that you worked with the topic of sleep and work life and so on. So I just wanted
Yeah.
to delve in that a little bit. I think the last episode of Let's Go Live was with the layman's doctor, Dr. Samantha Johnson, and
Mm-hmm.
we basically were talking about sleep and your health.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I just want to ask you, how does sleep deprivation, or how do you think sleep deprivation actually affects your health when it comes on to work?
For sure. Okay. So I ran a sleep experiment on here a couple of weeks back because I am somebody that does not sleep very well. And I
Okay.
thought there must be somebody else out there that's having this challenge. And it's because I'm pretty much a night person. I've always been. And I think my body has just sort of got into this pattern now. And then work stress on top of it does not help. So two things I want to say before I jump into the sleep in its entirety. I'm not really a proponent of working late or long hours or on the weekend. But sometimes you may have to do a little half an hour here, an hour here, just to align your mind, but it should not be like a habit, right? Because obviously it's going to creep into your sleep time and creep into your home time. But for sure, stress at work can lead to sleep deprivation and problems. And sleep deprivation can mean that in the workplace you don't perform as well because you're physically tired. Sleep deprivation impacts, so it affects your cognition, it affects your ability to interact with people. So you might have that challenging colleague that you just don't have the patience for because you're too tired.
I think
It affects,
I think we all know that colleague.
yeah, yeah. You find that you're not as efficient if you happen to be, something to do with driving or operating heavy machinery. It can be very dangerous. So sleep is really, really important for you. So your capacity to handle any fast-moving decisions, all of those things will be impaired if you don't have enough sleep because you just don't have the mental clarity when you haven't slept properly, especially if it's on a consistent basis. And I found that that was really creeping into my work life. And that's why I had run the sleep experiment at the time. But for sure, sleep is very important. And I think it's one of those functions that we kind of take for granted. And especially if you're somebody that does not, people say, oh, when you're tired, you will sleep. If you suffer from insomnia, you can be extremely exhausted and no sleep is coming. So if you're somebody that has that challenge, you really understand how you can suffer with brain fog, you can suffer with a lack of concentration, all of those things, and they can impact how you're able to perform in work, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with that. And on the topic of sleep deprivation, I found a stat the other day. It was actually quite interesting that if you miss a night of sleep and you actually drive, it's
Yeah.
similar to having about, I think, 3 drinks or just driving under the influence. So your reaction
Mm-hmm.
time and all of those factors while driving are at
Mm-hmm.
the same level when you're sleep deprived as when you're drunk. So you're basically as much of a risk to others and yourself while driving and sleep
Mm-hmm.
deprived as if you were driving under the influence, which, as we know, is
Yeah.
dangerous. Because when it comes down to
Yeah.
that reaction time, and as you're saying, your
Yeah.
quick decisions that you need to make, you're finding that you can't really make them.
Mm-hmm.
Because your brain just tired. And
Yeah.
very coincidentally, me and one of my friends were talking the other day, and he was just saying that one night he was driving and he was just very tired. He was tired. He never really felt like he was tired, but he was just driving and his eyes were on the road. He's focusing on the road. He's not sleeping or anything, but he just found himself drifting over. He just
Okay.
found himself drifting
Wow.
over, and he just ended up in the bushes somewhere.
Oh
And
God.
yeah, I mean, he's fine, completely fine. Nothing really
Yeah.
happened. Yeah, but he just found that he was just very tired and he was just sleep deprived. And even though in the moment there, you probably never realized that you're sleep deprived, your body shows in certain ways that, look, I needed rest. I'm not getting that rest. So it's very
Mm-hmm.
important for us to prioritize that sleep. As you say, it's a function that it's kind of underappreciated. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's underappreciated. Yeah. Or not.
Yeah, because
Kind
it's
of take
not
for
just
granted.
it's not just for us to wake up and feel refreshed. The
Yeah.
body cleanses, it processes, our minds process our thoughts.
Yeah.
And I watched something on a program the other day that says that when we sleep, the cerebrospinal fluid bathes our brain and washes away the toxins from the day. And I'm
Oh,
thinking, well, if that's not happening, that's probably why you end up with the brain fog and the lack of cognition and all that stuff. Which was kind of surprising to me. I've not heard that before. I mean, I've heard the ones you mentioned about the other illnesses like the type 2 diabetes and hypertension that can result from having a consistent lack of sleep
yeah,
because your body has things it needs to do that it can't do, when we're awake the same way.
the same.
Yeah, and it's challenging because although you might know this, it's just like, how do I break the habit or get myself into a good sleep pattern? And insomnia, if you have like real insomnia, it's no joke. It's no joke.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, it sounds simple to some people. Some people are like, oh, just go to bed, or oh, just it's always just do this or just do that. And when it comes to something like insomnia, you find that
Mm-hmm.
really just that. Yeah, it's definitely something that you're gonna have to go to a medical professional for if you're
Yes. Yeah.
even if you realize that they're over the counter medications you're taking and they're not
Mm-hmm.
helping. In that case, it's definitely want to be going to a medical practitioner
Mm-hmm.
so that they can put you on a right routine or like refer you
Mm-hmm.
to a professional that would deal with sleep and help put you on probably the right medication or probably the right routine
Mm-hmm.
or
Because
get
it
to the
can make you
source
feel
of the
crazy
issue.
and depressed. It's
Exactly, yeah.
bad.
You might
Yeah.
have anxiety, you might be depressed because and a lot of people think that they hear depression and they think, oh, you're sleeping more, but it can go either way. Some people
Mm-hmm.
are depressed, they sleep more. Some people are depressed and they can't sleep. So
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely it can definitely just be a resultant symptom. So it's not just insomnia. Sometimes
Yeah.
there's something else under
Mm-hmm.
the blanket that you're going to need to go to a doctor to sort out. So it's definitely a
Mm-hmm.
serious
Mm-hmm.
issue for real.
And I
Yeah,
know they have cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia as well.
yeah,
Which I suppose that looks into your patterns and behaviors around sleep and helping you to identify things. Yeah, because obviously not everybody wants to be medicated, but yeah, it's a serious issue. It's a serious issue. You know,
yeah. It really
many
is.
people have lost their personal relationships because of their insomnia. You know, it's crazy.
Even their jobs get affected too because
Yes,
they
for
can't
sure.
do the job right, or if you're not waking up in time. Because a lot of the times what happens with insomnia is it's not just you can't sleep, but you can't sleep on time. So you probably go
Yes.
to bed later, and you're waking up later,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't make your job. You're always late. You
Mm-hmm.
end up losing that job. So
Or you fall asleep, you wake up at some ridiculous time in the morning, can't get back to sleep, then you have to go to work, can't stay awake and you're at work.
there you
Yeah,
go.
it's
There you go.
crazy.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a deeper issue that I think needs more exploration. Definitely.
For sure.
To do
For
it.
sure.
I agree with you. By the way, everybody that's joined, you can always drop your questions or so on in the question box, or you can drop it in the comments, or if you want to just make a comment or anything, just drop it in the comments, and we'll definitely address it in the end because we tend to just have a little question and answer, a little interactive time at
Okay.
the end. All right, yeah. So for the last question, I think from the listener I sent you, at least, I just wanted to explore any ways that you think you could share with us for us to be able to achieve any tips that you as a work-life management coach could share with us to help achieve that work-life harmony that we would want to achieve for our lives.
Wow, okay. So I made a little list just in case.
Good, good, good.
So I noticed 6 things and I wanted to cover some sort of home wellness type things and work related things. So I'll start with the work related things first. So I think having clear objectives at work and having regular meetings with your manager is very important for how you're going to manage your home and work life. Because if your workload gets too much and it starts to impact your home life, then the balance is not going to be there. Because as you said, you end up taking work home, you end up spending more time at home doing work as opposed to spending time with your family and looking after yourself. So I think it's important to have those conversations with your manager to make sure that if you have any challenges that you're able to address those. On a day-to-day basis, again, and this speaks to you having things spill over into your home time, is to perhaps think about the one or two things that you need to progress each day, to the one or two needle moving things. So what are the two main things I want to get done today? That if I finish them today and I get home, I won't feel like I haven't done enough and that I need to still be doing more at home, right? So that's what I second thing I would point out. So so that you can come home, as I said, having a sense of satisfaction and that you can switch off from the workday. Other things, creating some time assets at home. So one of the things I speak about often is meal prepping. So if you're somebody that ends up working and skipping lunch a lot, I didn't mention too that obviously work can cause you to make bad nutritional choices, right?
Yes,
Whether you skip
yes.
breakfast or you skip lunch, you work through lunch, all of these things. And one of the things that you can do to help you to mitigate that is perhaps to meal prep. So if you do enough for lunch and dinner for the week, then even if you have to work at your desk, you know that you have your lunch there for you. Rest is very important, and whether that is sleeping or doing a relaxing activity, reading, whatever, that will also help you to switch off. Delegation of tasks and home tasks, because we're talking about the work and life harmony. So things, if you can delegate to have your groceries delivered or laundry service, that will free up time in the evening when you come home from work, and that will free up time on the weekend so that you don't have to be struggling and juggling too many things while you're going through the process of your work week. And I think perhaps one of the most important things is to decide what it is that is important to you, what makes you happy, and to invest your time in doing those things, and to understand that you can't do everything, you know? So there's going to come a point where something has just got to give. And maybe if this weekend you don't get to do everything on your list that you normally do, it's fine. You know, you can catch up next weekend or in the week or whatever. So, you know, if you feel like watching a movie will help you to rest and unwind, if you feel like spending time with your family is a thing that's really important, then you need to decide and make sure that you do that. And I think that's kind of how you will work it out. So it's not a balance thing, it's a harmony thing. So doing the things that make you happy, doing the things that will allow you to cope and manage better in the workday, and when you're in the work environment, ensuring that what happens in work will not spill over into your home life and take up that time. So those are the things that I would suggest to help you with that.
Okay, well, actually, I really do like that, especially the one that you mentioned about making clear objectives at work. I think that one is definitely something, because I find the more I'm not sure what I have to do, the more erratic the more erratic things get.
It's
And the
stressful.
more kind of
It's
stressed
stressful.
out you feel, because it's like, what am I doing? You know, it's like
Yeah. And when you have meetings and they say, you know, we should really do this or we should really get this done, I need to know, do you want me to do it? And you know, who is it, me or is it someone else on the team that you want to do it? And when do you want it by? Because I'll be here like just all over the place, and you know, if I think I have a week to do it and you think it should be done in 3 days, that could be a problem, and that can give you undue stress. So when you know where you stand and you know what is expected of you, it makes the stress a lot less. So that's really important, and there are subtle ways that you can nudge your manager into give you that information.
Right, you know, I personally just like ask the day one, like, all right, cool. All right,
Yeah.
what do you want me to do? When do you want this by? You know, because for me to do the work good, to be honest, I'm gonna need to know that. Because
Yeah.
if I don't know that, and I'm probably like on a multiple task type of day, then things are gonna start probably getting messy. So that's why I
Yeah,
just
for
know
sure.
exactly what I'm doing per task. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important, and it helps everybody to know where they are, and it helps you to know, you know, if things are not going to plan, then you know what you know, how much time you have to fix it, or how much time you have to still shout up and say, hey, this is not working, because that's also important too. If the ship is sinking, don't just make it sink. You have to tell somebody the ship is going down and then come up with a contingency plan. So yeah, so that's important.
Yeah, and also the meal prep one is a good one as well, because that not only ensures that you get lunch, it kind of ensures that you probably it gives you a higher chance of having a healthier lunch too, because
Yes.
what you find is that you're probably working away, and you realize you have lunch, and yeah, good for you. You're gonna get food, but
Mm-hmm.
then what food are you going to get? You
Mm-hmm.
probably have a McDonald's in the corner, and that's why you end up having almost every
Yeah.
day. Or you probably have just unhealthy food around you. I know
Yeah.
where I work, there's a lot of food that's just like very greasy and so on. That's just everywhere,
Yeah. And of
and
course, it's cakes and
they're
the cookies
good.
that people bring. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. So it's just like, oh, so
Mm-hmm.
meal prepping definitely doesn't just help with you making sure you get lunch, but also making sure that you are just giving you a higher chance for a healthier lunch. You have more
Mm-hmm.
time to think about what you're going to eat. You have more time to think
Mm-hmm.
about, okay, this looks like probably too much starch. This looks like too much meat, or there's not enough vegetables. Things
Mm-hmm.
like that. So you can say, hey, let me try and be more purposeful in how I'm eating, and
Mm-hmm.
my diet really. Yeah, because again, when you're just kind of out there, or when you have to rush back to your laptop and you're outside and there's a bag of food options,
You're just gonna grab.
you're just gonna choose some random
Mm-hmm.
something, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
probably choose the
Yeah.
cheapest thing, or you probably just choose something that kind of tastes good, but you're not really thinking about the impact it has on your health and so on. So
Mm-hmm.
that's also a
And I
very
think
important
where
thing.
the evening meal is concerned, that saves you a lot of time when you get home.
Yeah.
Because I sort of meal prep off and on, and sometimes what I do is if I don't do a full prep, I might do enough for like 2 or 3 days, depending. So if I have dinner today, I have dinner tomorrow as well, type of thing. So you can work it how you work it best. If you're able to do a full prep for the full week, but it kind of takes a little while, and if you don't have all that time, you might just want to do it in maybe enough for a couple of days, and then maybe Friday is your day when you just clean it. So you have to work out what works for you as well. But definitely, when you've prepped and you come home in the evening and dinner is already done, you'll be looking around like, what do I do now with myself?
Yeah.
It gives you back so
Yeah.
much time. It gives
And
you
then
back so
that's
much time.
also, I got another positive about it too, because then you realize that you probably have more time to just relax and
Yes,
just unwind from the day.
yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. It's definitely a good one to do. And as I said, if you can afford a meal delivery service, go for it. If you're in a position to get laundry done, go for it. All of these things will save you time and allow you to have a little bit more balance between your home and life, home and work. Because to be honest, in a way, when we come home from work, we have another job, which is all the home stuff, right? And if you're not careful, you'll just be doing all of the home stuff and no relaxation stuff. So where you can systematize, I suppose, is the word that they use, and delegate.
Yeah.
Do that if you can. If not, then you just have to, as I said, work out what's in. Maybe this weekend you think, okay, this weekend I really want to do X, and laundry will just have to wait till it. You
Till
know,
whenever. Yeah.
sometimes it's like that. And that's how you kind of work the harmony.
And I think that comes back to the other point of just not being able to do everything. I feel like a
You
lot,
can't.
a lot of the times we just feel like, all right, this is the list I have sorted out for the day, and I have to finish every single thing on the list. And sometimes just really overestimate not
Mm-hmm.
just how much time you have, but how much you can do in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it just ends up being you trying to do everything, and then when you don't do something on the list now, you kind of feel a bit disappointed now. So
Yeah.
yeah. It's
It's
definitely
crazy. It's crazy.
it's crazy. Um, what questions does anybody have? Does anyone have any questions? Drop any question you have. We're gonna run through and see if anyone dropped along the way. All right, so I see a comment from someone. Me one day home. All right, they were saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Rand from St. Vincent. Looking forward to this. Okay, Rand. Yeah, I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope you learned from it. Yeah, we're happy to be providing you with this information. Let me see who else said anything. If anybody else said anything. Okay,
What
so
else?
Farm D Nalsi. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully I pronounced that right. I'm so sorry. I'm saying happy Sunday. Thank you. Same to you from
Thank
both of
you.
us from the UK. All right. Me one day home now is saying I work 72-hour shifts. What are some of the ways that I de-stress while at work? Okay.
Okay, well, I don't know what sort of work you do. I think that would be helpful because we're sort of coming from a 9 to 5 kind of perspective as, you know, about standard 9 to 5. But taking regular breaks is really key. Whether you can go for a quick walk, whether it's in your building or just outside for a quick break, I think it's always helpful. I used to go to the loo and do stretches. There's some like power stretches you can do while you're in there. Some employers have like a quiet room that you can go and make use of. Again, that's useful. If you have a work friend, have a 2-minute chat somewhere that's not at your desk. I would suggest. If you can use headphones and listen to like music for study or something like that while you work, that's also helpful. Police officer, right, officer.
Oh dear.
Well, I don't know. When you have your off, when you have your break time, I don't know. Maybe you could try and listen to some relaxing music. Again, you know, take breaks to go for a little walk if you can. But that's a seriously pressurizing job. But when you're on the job, I would say to try and maximize your breaks as best you can. See if you can find a quiet spot to have a little rest time on your own. Listen to some relaxing music. And again, if you have brought in something nice that you want to have for your break, food, you know, even sometimes it's a small thing like that that can help you to wind down and de-stress. But music is always a great one, and taking time out is always a great one. Love to see this man picked up and happy Sunday to you guys. So thank you. Yeah, but that one, the police officer thing is tricky. That's tricky.
That was
for
tricky.
sure.
Like,
For sure. That's tricky.
Yeah.
That's tricky.
But I think also they should probably try and check if, because what's happening more recently is you do have these like employee mental health check-ins or like employee mental health stuff going on.
Yes.
So definitely check out with your job or your employer, not just you and the home, but like the rest of you as well. Just check to see if there's anything in place for employee mental health, because I know a lot of my friends that work in certain sectors that should do have like a company therapist. So
I would hope that, especially if you're a police officer, that your employer provides that service, because I can see where it would be very necessary. Most large employers do have an affiliate, as you said, that provides counseling and therapy, because I was going to come to, you know, what can you do if you're at work and you're finding that you're having wellness challenges, and that is one of them. So I'm kind of glad that you raised that. But I suppose the first thing would be to speak to your manager. I always say that, speak to your manager. See if there are any adjustments that can be made to your workload or your team or what you're actually working on. Speak to your doctor, because you just mentioned the sleep thing, and that people may not think it's serious, but it's very serious. And lack of sleep, I know it's only the one thing we're talking about, can manifest in many other things. So speak to your doctor. If there's an occupational health assessment that is available to you, make use of that, because they can recommend things to help you in work. And as you said, Mishka, you know, the therapist or the counselor, or, you know, if that's provided through your employer. And if it's not, seek it elsewhere, because at the end of the day, it's about you. It's about you and doing what's best for you so that you can actually perform at your best.
Yeah.
So thanks for bringing that up, because I was going, I almost forgot to mention.
Yeah. Which it's a pretty important thing, and it's pretty good that nowadays it's just becoming more popular to prioritize mental health. So, you know, it's nice to see that as well. Let me see any more comments. I saw HYC with Dr. C. I'm not sure if you pronounce HYC as hike. I'm gonna say HYC with Dr. C. Love to see this, man. Keep it up, and happy Sunday to you and your guest. Yeah, thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I love to see what you're doing as well. By the way, it was Farm DNA LLC. So Farm DNA LLC. So yeah, this is Dr. Jennifer Marquez. Mark. Okay, there's always something that I have to mess up.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Mark.
The names are tricky.
Yeah, it's our Marquez. I'm not sure, but yeah, Dr. Jennifer Marquez. Um, that's for the stress tips. Yeah, sure, definitely. So yeah, I'm trying to do this more frequently. You know, I was a bit rocky because as you know, Dionne moved recently to
Yeah.
the UK, so things just got
You
so
have to give yourself some grace,
up
man.
and
It's a
down.
process.
Yeah. Like even now, I still, I'm still kind of rocky because I'm flat hunting, and you know how that is in UK.
Yes, for
Don't
sure. Yes.
so
Say no more.
yeah, Tracy says the worst, but yeah. For anyone who probably just joined, we're talking about work life and your health. If it is that you missed the first section, just drop any questions or any comments that you have regarding that topic, and we can answer it. And then the recap of this entire thing is going to be up on my page. So we're going to be giving you just a little more time, about like a 2 minute or so. You can drop
Mhm.
some more comments. I drop some more questions. If not, we just wrap it up and then we just call
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And it was pronounced hike. Yes, hike. All right.
Okay.
Hike with
It's
Dr. Okay. Yeah.
it's HYC, not pronounced like HYC.
Hike. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think before we
Oh
go
wait,
though, I kind of want
HYC.
to
Yeah.
HYC. Yeah,
HYC. Yeah.
I think before we wrap, if we don't have questions, I know we spoke about stress, but I don't think we want to forget burnout.
Burnout.
And
Yes, that's a very good
yeah,
example.
and I don't think we want to forget the impact on family life. You know, there are many people that work in very high powered jobs that don't get to see their kids on a daily basis, only like on the weekends and that kind of thing. They miss bedtime and bath time every night and those kind of things. And so, again, it's a matter of how you manage to get that harmony, and also how you determine what is really important to you. Because at the end of the day, it is a decision that you would have to make. And work can definitely cause degradation in your relationships, with your wife, your husband, spouse, girlfriend, your mom, whatever, your kids, if you're just always working and you're never around, or if work causes you to be so stressed out and so, I don't want to say unbearable, you get snappy, you just grizzly when you come home. Takes a long time to wind down from that workplace to the home person. It can be very challenging for your family. So that's something else to think about.
Yes, definitely. It's so important to think about burnout, which again you cannot do everything. You're trying to do everything, you're trying to do everything. Eventually, you're going to be burning out. You can't be constantly doing the long hours from work because eventually you're gonna burn out and you're gonna realize you can't do nothing again, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be losing the job that you kind of
Mm-hmm.
put up yourself for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
and
just can't
burnout is
lose
another one
motivation.
that people underestimate the effect. It's terrible,
Yeah,
and it can last. It can impact you for a long time.
definitely true. Oh wait,
Yeah.
I see a question drop in the question box. All right, so from Levi, Dr. Mahadio. So he's saying, I agree with the employee mental health checks and options available with most workplaces. The only fear with OCC, even with OCC Health, is they are required to breach confidentiality if necessary. So a lot of us turn away from this. Any advice in terms of these? Um,
You wanna go first?
I'll see. Okay, let me see how that goes now. The thing is, what I'm thinking is, in the case that they have to breach the confidentiality. It's one of those cases, like for example, if you go to therapy and you relay any information that they think means that you're going to either harm yourself or harm someone else, they're gonna have to breach that confidentiality, and then basically they're gonna have to admit it to a facility, which is for your own good, kinda.
Yeah.
And if it is that, in your case, that you're a healthcare worker now, and you go to like a mental health thing, and then they have to breach confidentiality because of some information that they learned from you. It's kind of, again, for the good of you and the good of the patients, because they don't want to know that they have somebody who might possibly be mentally unstable, or someone who might be at a kind of a breaking point, working on certain patients, and just to kind of protect you as well. So basically, in some cases, or in most cases, that breach of confidentiality thing is kind of, I'm so sorry, it's kind of necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I think when it comes on to looking at, it's kind of for your own good. What isn't good now is that breach of confidentiality, which is unnecessary. So it's, some of your information is going out. You tell the therapist something, and then you hear Angela from accounting come back with the same information. It's just like, how you do
Yeah.
that, type of thing. So that's where that
Yeah.
becomes, like, that's, in my opinion, that's where that becomes,
Mm-hmm.
like, if it is that anybody else has a different opinion of it, definitely share it with me, and we can
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. But I'm just thinking from like a on paper thing, like, I'm
Yeah.
not really, I've really been there in real life, so I can't really
Mm-hmm.
comment on that experience fully 100%.
I agree with you on
Yeah.
that. I think maybe there's a solace in knowing that, certain info, if you're dealing with a professional organization or a professional, therapist or whatever, that breach will only happen in specific circumstances, for example, the ones that you've described. If it's a case of you just having a share with your manager, and I think you kind of have to determine how, in that case, if it's just you and your manager, I think you have to determine how much you are willing to share in that situation. And with most employers, if there's a breach of confidence or something like that, there is some kind of HR process or something, right? Because your employer does have a duty of care. But I think from a personal perspective, I determine how much I'm willing to share. When it comes on to your doctor now, I think that there comes a point when you have to understand that for me to get the help that I want, I have to be as open as I need to be. And that is a hard place for many people, because a lot of people who are struggling with depression or anxiety, for example, don't want that on their medical record. And so they may not say anything. And in my opinion, it's I don't even know what to call it. It's not helpful. It's not helpful for you to do that, because you're gonna stay there and suffer in silence. And so it's one of those hard decisions in life. I'm not going to say it's an easy decision to make, but it's either you take the risk and see if you can get the help that you need, or you suffer in silence. It's one of the two. And where your work is concerned, as I said, if there's a breach of confidence or something of that nature, and there isn't any recourse, any redress, then, and you feel like you can't continue in that space, and you may find that you may need to move on. But at the same time, that perhaps will make you feel extremely guarded the next time around, which is not helpful. So it's like a call that you have to make, when it's a structured organization, or like a registered professional, there is usually redress for things like those: breach of contract, breach of confidence, whatever, that kind of thing. But if it's just like an informal conversation with your manager, I think it's best for you to determine how much you're willing to share. But when it comes down to your doctor, in my opinion, and the medical people who are there to help you, just tell them. That's what I think. It might be easier to say, but just tell them, because if you don't tell them, they can't help you.
Yeah, they're not reading your minds, they're not.
Yeah, they can't help you.
Psychic, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I see some new ones drop, new comments drop. All right, so HYC with Dr. C, yes, on point, relationships, etc., and how ungodly work hours can destroy all that. Burnout is real. Hashtag. Yeah, definitely. Burnout is a serious issue that we need to take more into consideration when it comes down to working. Me one day home say, and how do you address the stigma of seeking assistance for mental health issues while on the job? I just feel like if you realize that there's a stigma around it, you kind of have to start thinking of yourself as an agent of change. You have to be the one that's look, I'm not feeling mentally well right now. I need to go and seek out help. If it is that somebody is saying, man up, or I just saw the job go, you just have to deal with it type of thing, then you just educate them and be like, no, my mental health is serious. We see what happens with people in the line of police officers. What can happen if they
Mm-hmm.
don't, seek out mental health help. So just educate them on that. Like, we don't want that to happen. No, we don't want that to happen. So let's seek out help for our mental health. So I think that's how we tackle the stigma. That's basically just tackle most stigmas. You just have to be that agent of change.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not really for the block and delete culture, but sometimes if an interaction is not helpful, you just need to lose it. Just lose it.
Just
Because at the end of
lose it.
at the end of the day, you have to help yourself. You want to be the best functioning version of you. You have to do what you need to do for you. And people who are close in your family will be the ones too that are telling you to just carry on, as you say, man up. It's get over it kind of thing.
So
Because there are many people, although mental wellness is very much more recognized now. There are many people that don't really understand it as being like a real thing. Like, what's wrong with you? Get on with it. Life is tough, whatever. And it's not like that. So if you're finding that those interactions are definitely not supportive and not helpful, either limit or just don't deal with them until you're in a better place to deal with them. That's what I would.
I definitely do agree with that. Yeah. Let me look through to see if Levi is saying agreed with our earlier conversation about the seeking the confidence breach issues and so on. So he was just saying that he agrees. So yeah, glad we could help.
It's scary though. We're not here to even for a second say that any of this is not.
I'm not gonna say
really.
go on and bare your soul.
No.
Why I was really saying that. Look, that's just on paper. On paper, it's for your own good, but
yeah,
it's hard. It's a hard decision.
It makes you comfortable, and I think you have to also think rationally about what you want, because if I know that everybody may not be as open as everybody, right? Yeah. But my opinion is that to get the help, even if you do it in little drips, when you feel a little bit more confident to share a little more, then you share a little more. But obviously you need to be doing this in a safe space, in a space where you feel able to share. But at the end of the day, especially if it's like with the doctors, I said, or like a registered therapist or something who are there to try and help you, they can't help you unless you tell them what the problem is. So we're not saying it's going to be easy by any means. We know that work dynamics and colleague dynamics and family dynamics can be very hard. But for you to be the best employee, the best mom, father, whatever, you're going to have to find yourself in a position where you're as well as you can be. And getting there means sharing what you need to share so that you can get the help.
Yeah, definitely agree. Couldn't have said it better. All right, let me look through, and I think that's it. So I think we can wrap up now.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a really good conversation. Thank you
it's
so much.
It's so great.
Dionne West. So yes, we're talking about work life and how it impacts your health. And when we're sharing some tips on how you can achieve work life harmony. Let me just run through what we went through. So you want to set clear objectives at work, so you have regular meetings with your manager to know what exactly you're doing, when they need it done by, so on and so forth. Number 2, you want to this is like 2 things what you have to do, especially when like you have to go home or when you have to go work. Why just 2 things that you have to do so you don't bombard yourself with too many tasks. 3, time assets at home. So for example, meal prep. So things like meal prep can help you with making sure you get lunch. One, make sure you get a healthy lunch, or even dinner, breakfast, and so on. So you don't realize you just wake up, you have to skip breakfast, or you're working at your desk, you can't afford to really get up and go get lunch, so you don't have lunch. Things like that absolves, but it's kind of like gets rid of those happening. And the 4th one, rest. You want to make sure you rest. We're talking about insomnia as well, sleep deprivation. You want to make sure you're resting. 5, delegation of tasks. You're not Superman. I'm just kind of sorry to tell you, but you're not Superman, you're not Superwoman. And that's completely fine because none of us are. So, delegate your tasks if it is that, there's something at work and you know that there's someone else that could either help you or there's someone else that, should be doing this, because there are lots of times at work you want to just kind of get
Yeah.
everything, you know, you know. But if you realize that there's someone else that should be doing this, then you kind of like, all right, hey, I'm gonna ask you to help me out on this project, you know, or this part of it, at least. And the last part, again, kind of roping out a lot with the other point. You cannot do everything, so don't try and cram in everything. I don't feel bad if it is that you had a list of a bag of things to do, but you only got to do 3 for the day. Don't feel bad. You can't do everything. Again, not Superman, not Superwoman. We're completely fine. We're just human. So yeah, thank you so much for joining, Dionne West. It was a really, really good conversation.
Thank you for having me. This was great. And I hope that, you know, the 9-to-5ers out there, or you do some other kind of work, that you found it helpful, and that will help you to create your own work-life harmony.
Yeah. Also, they can find you at this Instagram. It should be somewhere here. But you did have
at Dionne anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, you did have a work-life toolkit thing, like
Yes. So I've got a 9-to-5 survival guide, which is a free resource. There's a link in my bio. Once you click that, you'll be offered the ultimate work-life toolkit, and that's for minimal cost. And that has a 3-meal rotation in it. It's got a daily planner, a meal planner. There are strategies in there for handling challenges in work, so how to push back on deadlines, how to negotiate. There's also a workday playlist to help you continue to feel energized during the workday. There are affirmation cards in there as well. It's like a whole bundle of stuff to help you with both the work part of your day and the home part of your day, and how to help you to segue from one to the other.
Okay, great. And also for me, for your meal prep as well, I also have a free mini e-guide called Preventing NCDs, or Preventing Non-Communicable Diseases, where it kind of just helps you with some tips on how to help further prevent any non-communicable diseases that you might be at risk for. So you can always check out the link in my bio here, MDC_X, and you can check that out. I also do have a book going for a minimal cost, The Self-Care Journey, which is kind of in tune with all of this work-life harmony and all that good stuff. All right, so yeah, thank you so much. Have a good Sunday.
Thank you very much
for joining. All right,
take care. Have a good one.
Bye. Have a good Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.